When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes, is the answer. Now, here is the host of The Long Bearded Guy, the Chief Catalyst, Strategist Guide at Jewel International, Gordon D. Melville.
Hey, everybody. Great to see you. Thank you, and welcome to episode 6 of 52, Long Bearded Guy. That's Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. And I want to get right into it today. This is such a fun topic for me. Journaling for success, expert tips. And I'm not sure what makes me an expert outside of journaling for more than 30 years. But we're gonna get on to it. So let's get after it. Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar were really big influences on me in terms of journaling and understanding the benefits, the how-to, and the what to write. So many people have asked for tips when they hear, hey, you've journaled for a long time. How do I do that? I want to do it, but I don't know how. So here it is. This is your episode. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and or your journal. That would be a great place to put it. And we'll take some notes. I'm hoping that you learned some stuff from this episode today. I'm excited that Inspired Choices Network and the Long Bearded Guy are now carried on more than 450 platforms globally, between digital radio, which is what we're on now, live digital radio, podcasts, and TV shows. That absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's so good to know and humbling to know that my voice is going out on that many platforms. So find your favorite place to watch podcasts and join us. Share it with your friends, share it with your neighbors, share it with your family, people that need to have the connection to who they're being, and want tips, life hacks about journaling, life hacks about foundation and setting up your setting up who you are. Anyway, watch for the Long Bearded Guy Facebook group. It's coming soon. Working on it now. So we're build the community, join the tribe, and share it with everybody. We're going to try and create a community of the Long Bearded Guy on Facebook. So watch for that group. All right. Segment 1 is the basics. What does that mean? In terms of journaling, what does that mean? There's 3 things that basically come up over and over and over and over. Why do we do journaling? What's the point of that? One is clarity. One is problem solving, and one is communication. And I'm going to say them again. You should write them down. Clarity, problem solving, and communication, because those are the purposes and the functions of actually writing stuff down. There's a therapeutic piece when you actually pick up a pen and start to write. And we could type. Some people want to type. You can do that for sure. Better than not doing it at all. But I find writing it, physically writing it, forcing myself to put a pen to paper it grounds us. It puts us in a different place. It sets us in a different space mentally. Jim Rohn said, and I want to read it so I don't mess it up. Magical about writing down a problem, it is almost as thought, the act of writing. Magical writing down a problem. It is almost as the thought and the act of writing figures out what's wrong. You start to discover ways to make it right by writing it down. Lots of times when we talk clarity, have you ever had that experience where you're like, you're a little bit fumbled in your mind and you sit down with your best friend or your friend or somebody, and you're just talking through the problem, you're talking through the challenge, and just by talking through it, you go, wow, you know what? I just answered my own question. I have clarity by just talking it out loud, by hearing it yourself. And the same thing happens when we journal. As we write it down, we get clarity. We see it in black and white or blue and white or whatever color you're using. And it allows us to see a clarity and a purpose to what's going on. And lots of times we can solve some of our own stuff. We can figure it out, right? What do the books look like? Well, in terms of in terms of basics, where would you write? Like I said, I would write it physically. I have multiples here. That's my business journal. a fairly thick book. I've got lots of them here. General journal that I write lots of stuff in. That's just basic stuff. That's the one I go into a theater with. That's the one that I carry with me everywhere. My brother Don Callahan, well, we get together and have coffees regularly, and he's always laughing at me that wow, I'll walk in with no journal, and he's like, "Whoa, you I don't recognize you without a book in your hand," because I've always got a journal in my hand. And in terms of what do they look like, there's lots of them out there. And whatever works best for you. I like it just a lined sheet in the book, blank with nothing else. Some people like to see little prompts that talk about what they want, things that are important to them. So gratitude stuff, or goals for the week, or whatever you want to do to write it down. It is okay. It's giving yourself permission to do it. And I'm going to give you a major piece in the third segment. So watch for that, listen for that, stick around, and I'll give that to you. But making sure that we're giving yourself the gift of that, giving yourself the gift of being able to stop and pause and relax and write stuff down. It's the most amazing therapeutic thing to when and we'll talk about that in another segment too, but the being able to get it out, being able to the literally the basics of it, what the core reason and purpose and function for doing it is what. Because I think sometimes that's where the hiccup comes. We don't have a why. The why we're using is not deep enough. Why would I do it? What's the purpose of doing it? If I don't have a good why, I'm not going to do it. There's nothing going to happen unless there's a good why. So when it comes to journaling, you know what? You want to be in a space that's quiet. You want to be in a space that's by yourself. You don't want, and sometimes I do it. Usually I'm doing it in a very quiet place, no music, no nothing. Some people like to have a little bit of music, a little bit of background. I find that distracts me, but lots of people say, I heard long-haired music, Bach, Beethoven, that kind of music, symphony type music behind you while you're studying is actually helpful to your brain in terms of remembering the information. So by all means, but again, whatever's works for you, it's more a matter of doing, actually executing, not just having the plan, executing the plan. And there's a knowing doing gap there in lots of areas of our life. And excuse me, sometimes we look at it and go, it's overwhelming and I don't know what to do and I don't know where to start and I'm not sure what to write and I want to do it. I know it's good and I've heard it's a great idea and successful people do that, but I'm not sure for me how that works and I'm not sure where to begin. So pay attention today. We're going to give you some places to start, and you know what? If you want to take them, great. If you don't want to take them, that's great too. Whatever works for you. And in all these different pieces, all right? Being able to write lets my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts, my creative juices lots of times get going because I've started to write. And if you've ever written, I've got some people behind me here, my good friends, actually the second one here about the wolf, Starving the Wolf is Dr. Oliver Reed is one of my sponsors, and I really appreciate him. That's one of the books he's written. I forget 20, more than that, like a whole bunch of books. So when we journal, we're opening up those creative juices. As if you've ever wanted to do anything, you want to write a blog, you want to write a book, those are outcroppings and other pieces that journaling can help you start to get into that frame of mind. And my wife is an incredible writer, and she had a blog for a long time. And I had said to her, if you blog a little bit every day, blog a little bit. Blog is another form of journaling. It's a sister or a brother, right? It's a family member of journaling. And so, but if she puts 2 or 3 lines in, 4 lines, 5 lines, a few sentences, a couple paragraphs, whatever it is, every day, every day, every day, every day, guess what happens at the end of a year? You probably have a book. You have enough entries to have a book. We overwhelm ourselves with, oh, book, it's so big, it's all this stuff, and how do I do that? And it's over. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, one little piece at a time, little bits, stuff that we can actually get into ourselves and doesn't overwhelm us. Can I write today? Sure, I can. And Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar, Zig made me promise I would journal for the rest of my life. And that's a monumental, now that's more than 30 years ago now, but that was such a monumental commitment at the time. How do I do that? That's such a huge commitment. And it was a commitment to myself. It was a commitment for me internally to be able to say, you know what? That's a life skill that I know is something that successful people do in some form or another. And I know to get to another level, it's one of the keys to be able to open up and be creative and open up and expand myself and open up. And when I have, I hear stuff, right? That's why I carry general journal everywhere, because you never know where inspiration is going to come from. You'll hear something on a radio while you're having your lunch with your friends in a restaurant, or somebody will say something, or you'll see a sign, or inspiration comes all over the place, and you never know when that's going to happen. So carrying it with me all the time to make sure that I have it, to be able to write stuff down, and I write it down, and I write it down. And when I hear good things, I write them down, and I write where they came from and who said that, or where I heard it, so that I can look back at it later and go, you know what, that was really, it touched me. It inspired me somehow. And when I'm able to do that, because we want to remember, we all do. And unless you got a photographic memory, which very few people do, we're going to forget. You want to remember, but you're going to forget. So we want to be able to write this stuff down. And we'll talk in some other segments here about some of the different things that benefits of, right? In the next segment, we're going to talk about what are some benefits of journaling. Why would we care? What's the point? What's the big deal with journaling, really, right? Why do we do it? Why do all these successful people do it? How come? Are there really truly benefits to getting it done and to putting that effort out? There are. And so stick around. In the next segment, we're going to talk about that. We need to pay some bills and want to have some contact for our commercials. So you know what? You're on with the long bearded guy. That's Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. See you on the other side.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Long Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for staying here. Very excited about this topic. Journaling for success, expert tips. You're with the Long Bearded Guy. That's Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. Welcome back. We're going to talk in this segment. We talked in the first segment about basics and what are a little bit of ideas about where to start and some of the ideas of why. This segment, we want to talk about benefits. Why would we do it? What's the point? What are the big pieces that come with that? Why would you put in the effort to make that work? Because it takes time and it takes investment of time. It may take a little bit of investment of money to get a book or get a couple of books. And so there's a couple of massive. I want to talk about three real quick. One of them is leaving a legacy for the next generations. So when we put together our legacy, we put together what encompasses our life. We would have pictures. We pass those down to the kids, grandkids, books. So our library of information of things that were important to us. Some of us have thousands and thousands of books. So, and we want to pass them down. That's a legacy piece. And then journals. Why would we pass journals down? People ask me sometimes, what's the big deal with journal as opposed to pictures they understand instantly, right? Oh, pictures of the grandparents, pictures of people. So that lineage and that heritage gets passed down. The books, what was important. So when I'm not here anymore, my son, one of my sons is on today. Great to see you, Isaac. Thank you so much for being here. Love you, buddy. But giving them I've got three sons, giving them my books. What was important to dad? What was he reading? What were things that were important to him? And that legacy passing down, and the journals, being able to go back and read. It would be invaluable for me to be able to go back through my dad's or my grandfather's journals from when if they were writing, and they didn't, but if they were writing years and years and years ago, there's a wealth of information in there. There's just an incredible legacy of things they experienced and situations and what they were thinking and the creativeness and all the different bits and pieces that we put into a journal for the next generation. We need to do it as a gift to the next generation. Say that again. We want to journal our experiences to leave as legacy for the generations that are coming after us. I'm in the process of writing a series of books, 4 books called, well, the working title at the moment is A Letter to My 18-Year-Old Self. And there's a popular thing at the moment where people are writing what would they have loved for them to have heard or known or been told at a young age. And sometimes that there's a little bit of a rub there, because I think sometimes when we're young, we go, yeah, whatever. But some people do, they pull onto that and they get attached to that, and they're attracted to that information because it's going to help them if they can understand as a young person, Isaac, I hope you're paying attention. If they can understand the lessons at a young age, they can save them. They can exponentially accelerate their own learning curve. They can be way ahead of where any of us were at the same age. And lots of times they are. In so many ways, my kids are way beyond where I was when I was at their age. So leaving a legacy for next generations is a really good benefit. It's a great source material for other creative works, books, poems, blogs. Like I said, it's a great base of information. It's a great creative jumpstart into being able to do other creative products. So you're going to repurpose some of that information. As you get it out, you start to realize, wow, you know what? There's some good stuff there. As it downloads and as you write it out, some of that will come out depending on what topics are. And the third one, the major one, and we'll talk about this a little bit, is a release of emotions. So I use it as a coping mechanism. It's a tool I teach, a strategy I teach when we're talking about how do I deal with the stress and anxiety and depression. It's one of those tools, journaling. Why? because if I'm frustrated, or I'm angry, or I'm happy, or I'm there's a great situation, or I'm feeling full of gratitude, or I want to be able to write that down. I want to be able to make record of that. If I'm angry and frustrated, being able to write, and I refer to it as retching, I wrote it down, WRETCHING, retching, because I think it's instead of peeing into somebody else's brain and venting, that's not helpful. That negative energy isn't helpful for them. It's not helpful for you either, but it certainly isn't helpful for them. So instead of doing that, I'll sit down with a journal, one of my journals, and I say one of, because I've got 5. So we'll talk about that in the next segment. But I sit down and I'm retching. I'm just getting it out on the page. I can make whatever language I want, colorful as I want. I can say it however I want. No one's going to see it. So it's about getting it out. And I find a lot of times what's happening for me is that when I retch like that, if I go back and try and read it, I think 2 things are happening. Number one, I was probably vibrating so hard that I can't read what I wrote, because I was so angry, just right, or frustrated or whatever, just to get it out of me. And I think Papa comes in, and I call God Papa because of my relationship with him. If you haven't heard that, if you hear me talk about Papa, that's who I'm talking about. I think he augments it and changes it just a smidge, my writing. So when I'm retching, so that when I go back to read it later, I can't read it, because it's not helpful to put that back in again. The concept of the fact that I can see that it's being written, or it's been written, I can tell that it's been retched. And so I look at it and go, you know what? Clearly that entry was I was not having a good day, or I was frustrated with something or another. And clearly I got it out of me. So that's good. And so I use it as a coping tool, a coping mechanism. If I'm feeling, and you know what, if it makes it easier to write, my sisters all had diaries, and they would write in their diary, and they had the little clasp with the lock on it and the little key and whatnot. I find it hilarious, actually, that back then, if I read their journals, if I read their diary, they got upset with me, right? They were angry and frustrated and angry with me. Well, it's private, it's personal, it's private, it's private. And now we have social media where people put all that stuff out in posts, and they get frustrated and angry and upset if nobody reads it. I find that the dichotomy of that is very hilarious to me. But anyway, being able to write, it's a dear diary, if that's what you're doing. If you have spiritual bent to you, I know sometimes it becomes, I know people that do dear Papa, because they use it as almost a prayer. They're praying, they're showing gratitude in it. They're talking about experiences that were miracles in their life that day, or big things that happened. And so if that helps to be able to write, to think of it as a prayer, to think of it as you're talking to your best friend, you're talking to somebody and writing it down. So it's sort of geared and aimed at you're sharing with a friend. I know people that will name their diary, just like it's one of their friends, because they're so close to, they write all their personal stuff in there. They write all these deep things in there, things they might not share with anybody else. And so it's a really good, massively strong, very powerful coping tool. Being able to get it out of you is a hugely beneficial escape in a positive way for our emotion, all of them, good ones, bad ones, happy ones, sad ones, all of them, to be able to put that in there. What types of things do you write? What types of, you're going to write all of those things. You're going to put stuff in there about your day. You're going to put things in there about experiences you've had. You're going to put stuff in there about miracles you've seen happen, or great things that have happened in your life, or like I said, frustrating things at work, or someone's upsetting you. You just write it out, get it out of you so that it doesn't sit. We want it not to sit. And so when we write it out, it gets out of us. And the things that we can now choose, because now we have some clarity, we can choose the pieces we want to keep and hold on to, and we can choose the pieces that we go, you know what, that's not going to serve me, and I let it go. We have lots of frozen moments, right? And for those of you parents and grandparents that your kids have watched Frozen 100,000 times back to back to back to back, you'll know, right? It's Elsa talks about letting it go, let it go, let it go, right? She's just, and you don't want to hear me sing, that wouldn't be good, but letting it go, releasing it, don't hold on to it, and journaling will help that. Journaling will and putting all those different types of things, whatever you want to write about is good. That's good. Write about whatever you want to write about. It can be anecdotal stuff about, oh, I saw a really cool flower today, or I went to the movies with my wife and my sons or my friends or whatever, and it was a good movie, or it was a stinker, I didn't like that movie, right? Well, wasted that $15, $20, whatever it is, right? So it can be something like that. It can be, a really, really, really deep, meaningful connection that you had with somebody in a virtual coffee, in a Zoom call. A really, really good episode of the long bearded guy you want to write about. You could do that in your journal. I write in my journal about stuff like that. But those types of things, they get it out, and it lets you release those things. And really, there's no topic that's off limits in your journal. Whatever you want to write about, write about. Okay, I gotta say that again. Whatever you want to write about, write about. Whatever topic touches you and you want to write about, write about. And I'm going to give you in the last segment, I'm going to give you a little piece, because there's a huge release button that a lot of people go, well, it takes a lot of time, and how do I do? I don't have the time to. The interesting thing for me is when people say to me, well, this is a priority, that's a priority, the other thing's a priority. I'm like, you know what? Show me your day timer and your checkbook. And they look at me and go, why? And I'm like, well, because where you spend your time and your money, that's what the priority is. That's the priority. You can say with your mouth, this is a priority, but if you're not spending any time there, because we do a thing where if I have to get it done today, it's a must. I have to. Tony Robbins, it's a must. It goes from being a should or a want to a must. Once it gets to that, it'll happen. We'll make it happen. We make sure that it gets done. Why? Because it's something we've committed to ourselves, and the why is big enough. I have to get this done today. And once I do that, it'll get easier. And being able to write it will get easier. So I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours and hours and hours, and it's only an hour show. So I got to keep going. I want to make sure I do shout outs today that to my founding sponsor partners. Incredible. I can't do this without them. So I'm so thankful and grateful for all of them. The first one I want to highlight today is my good friend and brother, Jose Escobar. He's the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Check out the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf to learn more about the morning and evening routine mastery program that's changing people's lives. And I keep hearing it over and over and over. Unbelievable program. If you want to get really, really consistent about the way you do your life, if you want to jump to another level, you need to connect with Jose. This program will help you install systems on the bookends of your day to maximize your morning and evening routine. Set up your free strategy session with Jose Escobar today. Incredibly powerful program, incredibly powerful. And you can reach him at www.theentrepreneur'sbookshelf.com. Thank you so much, Jose. Love you, brother. And then the second one is Kathleen. We call her Kat. She calls Kat Schwartz. She's the owner and founder at Compassionate Healing Services. We're all of us very, very excited and looking forward to the release of she has another new podcast called Trauma Redefined with Kat and Joe. These two heart-centric folks are friends who share the experience of being complex trauma survivors who will provide a fresh take on how to tackle some of society's most difficult challenges in the mental health space, like suicide prevention, bullying, and so much more. Incredible. That's going to be they're unbelievably qualified experts in that field and mental awareness spectrum. They're unbelievable. We're really looking forward to that when it comes. It'll be on the air on the Mental Health News Network in the fall of 2022. Watch for that. We're all watching for that. It's going to be amazing. You can reach out to her at Kathleen at chsyoga.com. Again, thank you so much, Kat. Love you. Appreciate you all so much. So now we got to take another break. So you're with the long bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. See you on the other side.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming back, sticking with me. Appreciate it. Your time is the most valuable commodity you have. It's a non-renewable resource. So I really appreciate you spending some of that with me today. It means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. The one piece that come up in the chat, having journals is great. Writing this stuff down is great. At some point, you go back and read them. At some point, for yourself, you go back and read them. At some point, you go back and review them. And whether you do that weekly, you do that monthly, you do that yearly, where the highlights are. I like to do it in a shorter piece. I like to do it weekly and review it so that this is what happened to me this week. These are the things that happened in all the different areas. And so, excuse me, I want it, this third segment is about 6 steps to start journaling. So if you're going to write something down, this is a piece you want to write down. I'm going to give you 6 steps to do this. So, and to get started, it's an important piece. How do I get going? Which is what we talked about, right? What are the hacks in terms of journaling? How do I get started? What are the next steps? The first one is to find or choose where you're going to journal, something portable, easy to carry, and useful. So sometimes people want to do it like I said, they'll do it on their phone. They'll do it on an iPad or on a tablet. I like to do it the old-fashioned way, which is I'm not that the beard will give that away, but I'm old school. So I like to physically write it. I want to be able to physically write it. I want to see it, hold it in my hand. There's lots of different sizes. This is a great size, a little itty bitty, right? And that's right, just lined paper, right? But it's small, tiny, will fit in your purse, will fit in your pocket. You can put it on your, it's not hard to carry. If that works, I prefer the little bit bigger ones, right? That's a little bit bigger, but then you got full size. That's not an 8.5 by 11. I think that's an 8 by 10, but to like a full size sheet of paper, that works too, right? You want to do it on a pad, do it on a pad, right? Pad lined. I like graph paper, so I do a lot of my notes on graph. But my journaling I do in my books, right? In an actual book. So that's the first one. Choose what you're going to write in, and then set aside a specific time to focus on that self-care activity. Self-care, as you know, if you know me at all, you know I'm a huge advocate for self-care. I'm a walking billboard for what happens when you don't do self-care. So you need to do that self-care. You need to look after you. And so set aside a specific time to focus on it. Block it out in your calendar, block it out in your day. And if it's not, again, it's not instead of, it's as well as. So it's not taking the time for yourself away from time for your kids or your responsibilities or your clients or your spouse, right? It's making extra time. So if you normally get up at 6, if you need to get up at 5, you do that. If you're used to getting up at 5, you have to get up at 4, get up at 4. I know lots of people that do the 4 a.m. club, 5 a.m. club. 5 a.m. club's a great book, by the way. Gives you some good stuff. If you want to talk to Jose about morning and evening routine, he's got some incredible, again, life hacks that can help set up your day. But being able to set aside a specific time every day that you know that's yours, it's not for anybody else, it's your time to look after you. Set aside that time. It's specific and it's a self-care activity. That's number 2. The third one, commit to yourself and your accountability buddy. Oh, that means you need an accountability buddy to write every day. So you're holding yourself accountable. Lots of times it's having somebody else to hold you accountable, sharing it with somebody else, not what you wrote, just that you wrote, right? Reaching out to your accountability buddy. Hey, did you write today? Yeah, no, I put some stuff in my journal. Great. That's awesome. But if we don't have that, eventually it's like missing the gym, right? One day, the first time you do it, it's hard. Oh, I don't want to miss. But once you do it once, way easier to do it the next day. And the next thing you know, it's been 6 months, you haven't been back to the gym. So it's a habit you want to get into, but hold yourself accountable, have somebody else hold you accountable. Number 4, don't judge what you write. It's for you alone. Be 100% authentic, real, and fully transparent. Just write. We're so hard on ourselves. Oh, that's crap. That doesn't. No. It's not a go back and rewrite it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're the only one that's going to see it until you give it to the next generation, and they'll understand, hey, you know what? This is where he was at. It's real. It's raw. Don't judge what comes out. Don't judge what you're writing. Don't be so hard on ourselves. Give ourselves grace. What did you write? It doesn't matter what you wrote. And I want to stop right there. And okay, so that, yeah, that'll bleed into number 5. Give yourself grace. Leave out any and all expectations on yourself or about what you are or are not writing. Sitting down to write and having nothing. And this is a hack. And so I want to be very clear about this one. Give yourself grace. Leave out any and all expectations on yourself about what you are or are not writing. You don't have to be whoever your favorite author is, whoever you think is an incredible, you don't have to be that. You don't have, it's about getting it out. It's about sharing with yourself. It's about self-care. Don't look at it and go, oh, that doesn't sound right. Or, oh, that sounds like crap. No. It's for you. The one piece people say to me, it's so hard to write. And the piece that Zig gave me, that this is a monumental thing. If you write only one thing down of anything I've said to you today, write this one piece down. Take away the expectation. That's what's stopping most of us from writing in a journal. Because our expectation is, I have to sit down and write a page or 2 pages or 5 pages, or and that takes a long time. I don't want to do that. I can't do that. I don't have the time to do that. I'm not prepared to make the time to do that. And so sometimes you sit down, and anybody that's written in books or whatnot, if you've ever written, you know, some days you sit down and it just flows out of you. It just flows, and you write a page, 5 pages, 10 pages, you write 1,000 words, 4,000 words. It just comes out of you. And then some days you sit down and go, I got nothing. Really, I got nothing. Write that. I got nothing. There's nothing there. I don't have anything new to add today. So the one piece that's in here, the one place that you would not write that. So I have multiple journals, and I would recommend that because sometimes there's different topics that and purposes in your life, different bits and pieces. So I have multiple journals, and I'll give them to you in a second. But the one piece that never, ever, ever, never, ever says I've got nothing new to add today is my gratitude journal. It always, always, always has something I can be thankful for today. And it's not something that, I mean, we could sit down and go, hey, I'm thankful for my wife and my kids and my work and my sponsors and my show and Kim and Christine and my production crew and all the, I can be thankful for them every day. And I am thankful, deeply, deeply, deeply grateful, and appreciate them so much. All of them, love them all. But as I go day to day to day, there's always, always something that I can write in my gratitude journal about, specifically about today. It doesn't have to be some monumental, life-shattering, life-changing thing. It can be something small. You know, once in a while, my wife's working at home now, and there's times when I'm having a struggle day or I'm having pain day. And as I walk by her, you know, I'll look around the corner into her office, and she looks up and she just sort of smiles at me and winks at it. There's something about that touches me deeply. And I will write about that. A wink and a smile from my wife is a piece that I'm grateful for in that day, because it connected with my soul in that moment. So the gratitude journal is the only one that doesn't say anywhere, I don't have anything new to add today. There's always, always something to be grateful for. Find at least 3, by the way. Gratitudes, I would find at least 3 to 5. I'm never going to do less than 3. There's always, always something there. And the 6th one is as many types as you can. What does that mean? As many different books as you need based on topic. So I have a personal journal. I have a general journal. I have a business journal. I have a gratitude journal, and I have a goals journal. And I write in them all every day. How and why? Because sometimes, and that's why I say I take my general journal, I carry it everywhere. It goes everywhere with me. Right at the moment, I've been taking my business journal everywhere too, because I've been so focused on the show and on getting my practice, my coaching, high performance coaching practice back up and going again. So I've been thinking about that a lot, and I never know when I'm going to get inspiration for that. So I want to make sure that it's right there and I have it handy to me. So, but sometimes if I write it all in one book, again, that's okay. You can do that. If that works for you, that's great. Maybe you don't have business one to write in. So you'd have a personal and a general and a gratitude and a goals, right? However it works for you. I find for me, when I write so much, so often. If I put it all in one book, I can't find the business stuff. I can't sort it out. Where's the personal stuff? Where's the business stuff? Where's my gratitudes in here? I can't find them. So I put them in different books, if that makes sense. Does it make it cumbersome? Yeah. You walk in with a sack of books like this. Yeah, it can. That's why I don't carry all of them around all the time. They usually sit in my studio or in my office. But I'm going to have different versions of it. So that's that. I want to, and I hope that's helpful. So those 6 things really quick, if you were writing them down, find or choose where you're going to journal, something that's portable and easy to carry and use. That's number 1. Number 2, set aside a specific time and to focus on that self-care activity. It will absolutely be a self-care piece for you. Number 3, commit to yourself and your accountability buddy to write every day. That's a big one. Number 4, don't judge what you write. It's for you alone. Be 100% authentic, real, and fully transparent. Just write it down. Don't judge yourself. Number 5, give yourself grace. Leave out any and all expectation on yourself or about what you are or are not writing. Sitting down to write and having nothing, just write that. I got nothing today. Except in your gratitude journal, always find at least 3 things every day to be grateful for. And then number 6, as many types as you can: personal, business, general, gratitude, and goals. That way it keeps it separate. I hope that's helpful as far as getting started. I hope that's, and like I said, I can talk about this forever and ever and ever. I do have, like I said, I've got a high performance coaching practice. I want to announce that I am going to start my Boxed Inside Out September 17th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's capped at the first 30 people to register. And you can register on my website. That's www.thelongbeardedguy.com. You can register there. That's going to be a deeper dive. It's not outside the box thinking, it's eradicate the box. It's tools and strategies to be able to deal with regular emotions we all feel every day, stress and anxiety and depression and all these things on a low level, right? So that they don't end up as a high level. We don't end up in suicide. We don't end up in deep depression. We don't end up in that side. So again, that's the 17th of September. The tuition, it's only a 4-week program, 1 hour a week for 4 weeks, very quick, very short, but very, very impactful. It's been a very, very well-received program. So that's the Boxed Inside Out starts September 17th. Shout outs, my founding sponsor partners that I'm ridiculously thankful for. Can't do this without them. So I really appreciate that. Kathleen Kat Schwartz is the owner and founder at Compassionate Healing Services. And again, we're really looking forward to her release of another new podcast she's doing called Trauma Redefined with Kat and Joe. These two heart-centric folks are friends who share the experience of being complex trauma survivors who will provide a fresh take on how to tackle some of society's most difficult challenges in the mental health space, like suicide prevention, bullying, and so much more. It'll air on the Mental Health News Network in the fall of 2022. So watch for that. Then it's coming up. We're less than a month away from September, which would be the fall. So reach out to her at Kathleen@chsyoga.com for more details about that. But we're very excited. We'll watch for that when it comes. And the other one is Jose Escobar, founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Incredible human being. One of my mentors. Incredible guy. Check out the Connected Leaders Academy, the CLA membership to take your business to the next level. It's been life-changing for me, and that's not hyperbole. That it absolutely has been. This is the perfect tribe to learn, grow, and connect like never before. The Connected Leaders Academy tribe brings together some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world, 11 countries, 34 or 35 states across the US, more than 200 people so far and growing. Set up a virtual coffee with Jose today to find out about that. Incredible. You want to connect to other entrepreneurs and leaders globally, incredibly powerful. You can reach out to him at www.theentrepreneur'sbookshelf.com. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that. I am part of that tribe. It's that I love my CLA family. They're absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So reach out to them. That's all for this segment. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. That's me. Thank you for being here on Inspired Choices Network. We'll see you in a few minutes.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Long-Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope this has been awesome for you today. I love talking about journaling. I love talking about self-care. I love talking about mindset, because that's what that is. It's a mindset. I get into a mindset of journaling. I get into a mindset of self-care. I'm looking for ways to be able to look after myself. I'm looking for ways, intentionally looking to grow. John Maxwell talks about being intentional, not just letting it happen. And so this is a massive, big thing. So again, tools to get started. The book that you're gonna write in. What are you gonna find something that works? Whatever you want to will work. Whatever you think is comfortable for you will work. What are you writing? So the topics, are you going to have 5 journals like me? Are you going to have one general journal to get started, and or a general and a gratitude is a great place to start, right? Because there's things every day to be grateful for. It really, there's no way to be negative if you're grateful. They do this. There's no way to go to bed or to be in a negative headspace and have gratitude inside. They don't live in the same space. It's one or the other. And so having that in your repertoire of being able to help. So what are you going to write about? Having utensils. So I've always got, everybody laughs at me, I've always got pens and highlighters and whatnot. I've always got writing utensils with me. Always. Having an accountability partner. If you don't have one, get one. If you don't, I highly recommend get an accountability partner. If that's a coach, get a coach. We all need coaches. We look at these athletes, professional athletes, and we go, wow, they're so amazing. Guess what? They got 5 or 6 different coaches on the team. And then they've got their own coaches for personal away from the team. But they understand what coaching's about. They need someone to show them where their blind spots are. They need someone to give them the tips that they can execute. So if you don't have a coach, highly recommend a coach. I happen to know a really good one. But I know a lot of other coaches that are amazing. And so whoever you connect with is good. Accountability partner, living your best life ever. This is a book that I got. You can get on Amazon. It's a co-thing with Darren Hardy and Jim Rohn, and it comes with 4 discs, and it's about journaling. It's about understanding and rating where your life is going and what are you focused on. And it's an amazing, highly recommend it. It's an incredible book, and it will help guide and give you some structure and some ways to do that. So I really highly recommend that. Quick call to action. Always want to make sure, hey, you know what? We're always looking to what are we doing about it, right? We get the information, we hear it, but if we don't do something with that, like right now, it's going to go by the way, and you're going to, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, whatever, you're going to, oh yeah, Gord talked about journaling. I really mean to do it. I got it. So the call to action, make it a point today to go today, not tomorrow, today, to find yourself, go find whatever it is you're going to use. Buy a journal, find it at Indigo, find it on Amazon, find it on whatever it's going to be, whatever you're going to write in or on. Get it today, and then send me an email at thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com and let me know, hey, Gord, I did my homework. I got a journal. I bought a journal, and I'm committed to write in it today. So, and every day. So that's the call to action. Go get a journal, go find whatever it is you're going to use. And if you have one, great. Send me an email, longbeardedguy@gmail.com, that says, Gord, I've got my journal. I have a journal. I had a journal. I haven't written in a while, or it's been collecting dust on the shelf. I've pulled it off. I've dusted it off. I'm going to start to use it. Please reach out and share that with me. I want to celebrate that win with you. Again, I want to just real quick, connect with me at thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com for more information about Boxed Inside Out. Starts September 17th. And it's not free, but it's a very small, and I've put some scholarship in there so that it's an affordable thing for everybody to do. I've capped it at first 30 people. If we have more than 30, which happens regularly, then we'll start a second class, and it's only 1 hour, 4 weeks in a row. So reach out to me at thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com for more of that information. Make it another great week. I love you all. Live abundantly with intention. See you next Friday.
Thank you for tuning into the Long Bearded Guy Show. You are appreciated and loved. Gordon D. Melville returns Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, make it another great week, leading with love, powerfully designing, crafting, and living out your positively impactful legacy life you were created for. Big hugs.